we go. The opinions and views expressed in this podcast are solely those of the Mortgage Dudes only, and not those of Equity Resources Incorporated or Greentree Mortgage Services. We're not crazy. Think of them as your slightly odd, yet occasionally hilarious uncles that are very knowledgeable about mortgages. I will say, together they have over 45 years of experience in the housing market, and that may or may not have included bourbon, beer, and cigars. They are here to enlighten and entertain, and we cannot be responsible for the language or jokes. So buckle up and be ready. Things are about to get interesting.
Shane, maybe for the next video, we can get you in a wig to talk about how all politics
I look amazing with hair. I look amazing with hair, but I even look better bald. I've worn wigs before.
I think we need you, next time you're at corporate, I left a few wigs there. You can borrow one.
Yeah.
Go see Adam. He's got a wig for you.
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
And he's got stilts, too, to make you look taller.
Make me look taller. I'm not heightening. I'm not putting height lifts in my shoes. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Mortgage Dudes. I'm Shane Marzullo. This is my good-looking friend, Ed Moloney. As you can see, he's never looked so better.
Hey, we're celebrating the color purple because purple is my favorite color. Some make fun of me, but guess what?
Are you a Vikings fan then?
I am not. I am a Patriots fan. The best team of all time. The goats of goats. We have Brady. We've got Belichick. Now we're suffering, but for all the abundance of greatness, look at teams like Ohio.
I will, as a Cowboys fan, and I take my beating, and everybody's like, oh, I'm like, look, I've been since the 70s, so I don't want to hear your crap. And so yeah, but that's good. That's good that you're just not a shirt tail fan.
No,
I did see that you were at the Red Sox game.
Opening day of the Red Sox.
How was that?
A little story behind this. Kindness brings kindness. Yes, compliance will probably hit me. But that's always been my theory and motto. So I was at a rest stop in the fall with my son, who's 25. We're coming back from up north in New Hampshire. Had to go to the little boy's room, had to get some food because we know I like to eat. And there was a gentleman there, and I went and shook his hand. His name was Sam Kennedy. For you that don't know, Sam Kennedy is the president of the entire Red Sox organization. Shook his hand, talked to him, took a picture with him, gave him my business card, talked to his 80-year-old dad. 4 days later, I get an email this past fall from his executive assistant. Sam would like to invite you to the Red Sox game. You know me. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, we'll see. So
did you hit the fishing button and send it to IT?
Tickets will show up 4 days before the game. They actually showed up 7 days. I kept saying to Brian, I'll be in the bleachers. We were 6 or 7 rows back. The seats were phenomenal. We had just a blessed day. And awesome. It was all because kindness brings kindness. And part of our show is we pick on each other and stuff. But our goal is to give of our gifts. And that's information in a really messed up world. And that's why I wear purple, because people like to pick on me.
That's actually awesome. I'm not are you a big baseball fan?
I am not, because traveling into the city of Boston is like getting 4 root canals on the same day. But I had a friend that drove. And I ate sausages with peppers and onions. I drank several beverages, and then we ate at night too and drove out later. It was a good day. When I was younger, I was really into baseball. Now, it is like that. Game. You can't match.
Yeah, that's it. I guess Tigers are opening day today, and it's freezing cold. People are like, "Oh, I'm like, yeah, I would never go."
You guys have a lot of minor league teams.
So yeah, Toledo has a big, Mud Hens, and I think they had theirs already. We were out of town when they had it. We're in Destin, and but I never go because it's just way too many people. It's a big drunk fest, and I just don't. If I'm gonna drink, I'm gonna drink at home or my cigar club or whatever, my own little place. I don't need to go out to a big bar, and I'm not a big beer guy. So I know you like beer, but
Plus,
they don't really give.
they don't let you smoke cigars at a stadium, so
No,
you couldn't be there anyhow.
that's a downside anyway. So yeah, that would be if they put a level like where this is like a small cigar level. Oh, I'd have season tickets. I'm
Well,
like,
it's
okay,
like
I can sit here all day and
it's like when we're on conference calls with leadership and you smoked a cigar. That went over really well.
yeah. Apparently that's frowned upon. I don't care. Fine, you don't need me on a conference call. That's how I figure it. But so tell me about fishing season is like the boat season. I mean, I know you've been fishing, but the boat season is coming up.
May 1 is like my Christmas. May 1, the boat goes in the water and I go out. Last year was a very windy year here on Cape Cod. Mm-hmm. I know everyone's going to cry for me. I only get on my boat 35 times. My goal is 52 this year. We might try to do the podcast from the boat. Chances are it won't work very well.
Probably not.
I'm not too inclined. And IT will be really happy if my laptop falls in the water.
Yeah.
We probably would not be happy, but we'll probably try it anyhow. We have been doing a little trout fishing.
With my RV.
Because it makes, trout fishing. But here in New England, especially we're on the coast on Cape Cod, you get a fake excitement. What does that mean? Be careful answering that, Shane. But the fake excitement is you think the weather's going to be great. And that just sucks. I mean, today's 38 degrees. I feel like I'm in Toledo, Ohio.
Yeah, that's how it is. It's like, it's sunny. You look outside, you're like, oh my God, it's so sunny. And you walk out like, gee, is it cold? Yeah. It's. So do you have to do much prep work on the boat? Are you like barnacle scraping, painting?
No. See, I have something called a rack system. You bring the boat in, they put it up on a rack, and during the season, they drop it and put it in. I choose to leave it there all year, so they wrap it like they should wrap your head because it's a little shiny and you probably get some skin cancer. But they wrap it with this
SPF.
with this covering, and at the end of the year, they unwrap it. They do everything there because farmer fisherman Purple-Headed Ed would not like to put it on a trailer because then he'd never use it. So they do everything there. There isn't a lot of bottom painting needed. I'm surprised you knew what bottom painting was. Because the boat doesn't stay in the water. It goes up on a rack. So it's only in the water so much. So that's the savings. Yeah. The rest is a little expensive, but that's why Shane's going to send me more mortgages in Ohio. Because certain parts of Ohio can't deal with his personality.
Yeah, whatever. No, the reason why I do know that about boating and everything, my late father-in-law and my mother-in-law, they had a boat and they kept it in the water during most of the year. Then in the winter they pull it out, and wrap it up and everything. But I remember they would always have to get it ready and paint the bottom and all that stuff. It's funny is like, and I know your area, you probably can't do this, but a lot of like in like our area, a lot of people who had boats have sold boats and now gone to the pontoons. So that's like the next progression of old people. Apparently you go from a boat to a pontoon. So then you have very little work to do on it.
Pontoons are great for lakes. They're great for partying. They're great for putting like little plastic things off.
Yeah.
But to actually go anywhere, not so good.
Yeah, not so much in the ocean.
Yeah, actually, some people do have them in the ocean.
Really?
I think they're a little unique.
Yeah.
And maybe a little dangerous when the waves come.
Yeah.
But so now is your trailer parking done for the year? Like, do you go and use it in your yard? Do you go to local trailer places?
Just put it out in my driveway. More sleep in that.
I know I'm going to sleep when I come up and visit. But.
Yeah, so generally we have 2 big travels a year. In January we go to Lakeland, and in March we're in Lakeland, Florida for about maybe almost a month. And then we come home, freeze, work, at home. We work there too. But then, in late March, we go to Destin, Florida, which if anybody's ever been to Destin, it's a beautiful area. If you've not been to Destin and you want tips of great eateries, things to do, all that, give me a shout. I will give you a list of everything. That was our 9th year. The RV park's right on the beach, so it's beautiful. It's very comforting. And I swear to God, and I don't know if, because you probably do get this, like when you're by that water and those waves are hitting, I swear to God, it swaddles me like a little baby. I sleep so good, and I don't get it. I'm like, man, it knocks me out.
There's something for marketing to do. You and a swaddled baby.
Yeah, just a little baby.
I think that's a new invention. No, I've always liked the water. It is calming. Or those of you that don't know me very well, I'm a type A ADHD baby. Yeah. So the reality is that piece. We're 12 minutes into me and you babbling. So what? I think we should kind of probably get to
probably a little bit. Have we talked about that? We've talked about maybe the DSCR. People are getting. Have you done any?
Yes,
I've done one.
But here's the thing. I think people get caught up in product instead of looking at what their best situation is. So to me, I want to look at the person's full financial situation, because often doing as an investment property, full doc is better than DSCR. DSCR is great for somebody that has too many properties or they don't show any income. It's credit and based off of that property. The problem I have, and experts throughout the country have with DSCR, is you're going to put X down. You don't know what the rents are going to be till the appraiser comes back with them. And if they're lower, it's just based off that property. Now you might have to put more money down. Now you spent money on an appraisal, and depending where you are, that's hundreds of dollars. It's always higher for an investment property because they have to do rent schedules and all this other crap. So do I think it's a great product? Yes. Do I think it's also a shiny coin and too many loan officers that are not professional, they're just going after the shiny coin? You should do this. You need to slow down. Deal with a professional and look at all the things. One of the things that I learned from Sid, a colleague of ours, was, start looking at two partners. One that's just on the deed, bringing the money in for the investment properties to do a full-blown doc. The other thing with DSCR is the rates are higher. So is it a product that's out there? Yes. If you're looking into investment properties in Massachusetts, Ohio, Florida, wherever, just call us. It's a shiny coin, maybe the right coin, but we don't try to put a square peg into a circle. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I would agree. I think they're good for certain people. Maybe if you have a lot of here's the thing: if the property is a cash flowing property, and maybe you have a lot of, you're self-employed or have have a lot of debts going on where you don't qualify for a conventional mortgage, this is a great option. It basically, because it's almost commercial-esque. It's going off what the property is made. Yeah, what the property is made.
Debt service.
Yeah, so it's a good option. I will tell you, we get, and I know this is not even something you guys even see, but we get a lot of people who are like, hey, we want to do this. And they qualify, but the problem is maybe the home is less than 100,000 in loan size, and that's not something we can do. And I don't know if anybody can. I've not heard of any company that's offering this product to do it less than 100,000. So some are actually even higher, which I feel we're pretty good by doing it at 100,000.
We are, and I think that's why always having your other options laid out is so important, because every market is so different. I think this is the world we're in now, that your conventional, your VA, your FHA loans are important and always will be. You need professionals that are going to look at things like the debt service loan or construction loans, and you do a lot more, and there's a lot of lenders that don't touch construction loans. Yeah. That's the pain in the ass parts of construction loans. I'm just going to be blunt. Everybody's like, oh, I want a construction loan. Oh, you can't do this. You can do that. I'll let you start with your thoughts.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. They're a great product. I think sometimes people are like, well, my husband's in the construction field. We don't want your husband doing it. We want your husband doing his job to pay that bill. So, and that's kind of a big thing. So you have to have a builder who, and it's not like a guy who's like, I'm a builder now. No, we want someone who has been doing it for a bit, that has a proven track record. Now the benefit is, you can put as little as 5% down. So, and we can include the property in the purchase. So let's say you didn't have the land, but you found a builder that would do it, and you got the land that, you want to build on. We'll do all that in one big swoop. Or if you own the land, which is a better thing, then we can use that equity of the land for your down payment. So there are some very good avenues for this. We offer VA, which are, I will be honest with you, that can be a little bit tough to do because VA's got its own rules. But normally we're doing the FHA or conventional loans on those. I think they're a great product. We've done quite a few of them, and we kind of got it down to the absolute hardest part of construction loans, and Ed probably will back me up on this, is the vetting of builders and having them fill out the application. Because again, we have to make sure the builder's a good builder. What we don't want is an individual that will sit there and, like, oh yeah, I'll build it. And all of a sudden, disappears with part of the money, or, doesn't do it on time, because being on time is important. There's a timeline. Generally, we want it done within 9 months, no more than a year. And there's assessed fees. I had a builder that was doing this to the client. I was like, well, I'll get to it. Well, the problem with doing that is that the builder was taking his own sweet time building his spec homes faster than he was with the client's home. Well, the client was assessed the late fees, and the client's like, look, this is your fault. You chose to do this. And he made the builder pay those, because it was. So it's good to interview your builder and make sure that they can handle this and take it on. But it's also, you got to let them know, hey, you got to make sure you fill out the paperwork, and so we can vet you and make sure you're a legitimate company.
Right. So. And my take on that, I agree 100%. The big misconception of people is, can't find a house, so I'm going to build a house, and I'm going to do it with Uncle Charlie or myself. That's not going to work. The second thing is, yes, we do FHA and VA, but the vetting there is even at a higher level. Why? They need to fill out forms that say you're going to follow by the government's blah, 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 yada, yada, yada. Yeah. And then when I say the forms are that thick, I am not exaggerating. But are there some builders out there? Yes. Conventional, it's much less paperwork. It's more us vetting them. And do I think it's a great program? Yes. We are also exceptional as a company of getting the people paid on time at each stage. Our drawers and communication.
That is huge.
I agree with Shane. Too many people say, oh, this is easy. This is like a golden fish. It just swims perfectly. No. But do we make it better than most? Yes. And in today's world, I don't care if you're in Toledo, Ohio, Newark, Ohio, beautiful Massachusetts, Maine, Rhode Island, wherever, it's harder. There's less houses, unless you're in Florida. That's a whole different country. But the reality is, housing, there isn't a lot. So is this an option? Yes. Talk to professionals like us. If you're going to another company, they say, oh, this is easy, you're probably dealing with somebody that doesn't know what they're doing, and later we'll have a problem. Yep. Vet your builder. If your builder's not willing to do the paperwork, they're not the right builder. The last thing, Shane, is a lot of banks and mortgage companies won't do this. And let me explain to the consumer why. When you go buy a house and it's new construction and we're just doing the end loan, all the risk is on the builder. On this, all the risk is on us and you, the consumer. All of a sudden, the builder goes, I had a heart attack and I have nobody to do the business. All of this makes it a higher risk So is it doable? Yes. But the difference of me and Shane is we're not going to just make it cotton candy.
It's
We're
not.
going to tell you the way it is.
I mean, people think, oh, it's just like buying a house. No, there's a lot of fees that go with that. And it's not just us. We have reinspection fees. Every time that builder needs a draw, we have to, have the appraiser go out or, make sure the work was done. So there are costs associated with that, and I don't want to scare people saying, but look, you're building your home to your specs. It's not, if you don't like it, then you buy a house that's used, or you buy a house from a builder that owns the subdivision. It's like, look, I built these homes. There's no changing it, or very little changing. It's a different story. But these are something for people who maybe can't find a house. They're like, you know what, or maybe you want a house a certain way, or however, and no one's building it. Like maybe you want a barn dominium. That's the thing now, and they're badass. They're kind of cool. I'd love nothing to have pull my RV, my wife's car, all my other stuff in, and then walk into a room and have a big house there. But they're a cool thing. But that's the thing. We can do them. We just have to have this. We can. There's certain things to go with, and that's the whole thing about construction loans being it's for custom bills. I want to talk about a little bit, Ed. So we were coming home from Florida, and we broke down, which is great. I'm sure you've never had a breakdown on your boat, and it's so and because this thing's big as a semi, I had to have it towed, and the main reason I want to bring this out is, I know we talked about insurance before when the last one about my wife getting in an accident and everything. There's something called, with your, and I think people should talk to your insurance agent. I think it's good to have a conversations with your insurance every year. Like, hey, why is it going up? What can we do here? But also looking at your coverages to make sure it's enough. Secondly, it's important to ask, hey, do they offer roadside assistance? And for those who don't know what that is when you break down, in Tennessee and you're 6 hours and 10 minutes from your house, that you might not have a person you can call to tow you or locally. So, they help you, and that your insurance company assists you with this. And that's what, luckily we were able to work with my insurance company. Like, hey, they took me and I got taken to a place that was really good. Tennessee, have you been to Tennessee? It's a beautiful area. It's crazy. And so we're not licensed. I'm not licensed. I know for sure. I don't think as a company we're licensed in Tennessee.
But why don't we work on this after this call? I think we need to send the handman to George and email to me and you, because every year I get one call about Tennessee. Yeah, so could we talk to the man with the hair? He's your guy.
It's a beautiful area. We were sitting on. We were sitting at the yard. That guy's fixing the RV, and we're looking at this house, and there's a house on top of the mountain that has. I mean, you wouldn't have saw the house if the trees didn't have leaves. If the trees were leaved at the time of the year. Beautiful. So I started, what do? I jump on Zillow, start looking at homes. I was like, let's just see what these I have. Well, shit, there was a house that was $550,000 and the taxes were like $922 a year. I'm like, what?
Year.
Yeah.
A year.
And there was one this person's on crack because the house has been on the market for over like 1,300 days. So they wanted $1.4 million for it. The taxes on the house were $1,700 a year. Insane. And from what I've been told, taxes, and they have really low property taxes, and then they have no state tax, which is kind of nice.
Big holes in the roads or no holes in the roads?
No, roads were fairly good. The roads were fairly good. I was actually intrigued about the place. I was like, huh. So I was like, well, if I ever retired and moved down here, but then I realized how it would cost me more money, because not only do I have to buy a house, but I have to buy a house for my children, my mother-in-law to live. I basically have to buy a compound, is what I'm saying. I have to buy a Marzullo compound and have them all live there, and it ain't gonna happen. So,
So you're gonna die in Toledo?
I probably pretty much. Yeah,
that sounds like hell to me.
It's actually great, but we figured, when we actually retire, we're going to spend, January, February, March, most, part of April in Florida area. So we're good. I don't know about your state, but in the summer we get a little heat, and it's not like Florida heat,
No.
So it's good. But
And
hey,
for those of you that have been watching the video, I'm trying to make Shane laugh. I even have my own golf ball.
Yeah, I know. Where did you find that? What is it?
I don't even know. My kid found it.
Yeah, it's in a whale. He saved a whale and was stuck in a whale. Seinfeld reference, if anybody's ever watched Seinfeld.
Probably not.
No, I know. Have you done these temporary buy downs at all?
Yeah, we're in a more sophisticated market than you. I'm being a jackapple.
Hey, my people will take you down. Listen, Toledo people are rough.
Look at this baby. Whoa. Chicken arms. Okay, so back to the focus point.
Yeah.
So yes, we've done them. No, I'm not a big fan of them. They were the whole, kind of like date the rate, buy the house, blah, 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 all this stuff. Now, do they make sense if communicated right and for the right person? The problem is nobody did that. They did it for the 2 years. They didn't. Then they kept saying rates will come down. Well, people that did this in 21 or 22, and even if they did a 3 year in 25, if they were expecting the rate to come down, they're screwed. And all it was the seller putting money to subsidize the payment. It wasn't a lower rate.
Yeah.
And my concern is people don't understand. Where I do like it is, let's just say, me and you're my girlfriend, you're my boyfriend, whatever. And we are together as a couple. And we know that you're going to go back to work in 15 months. Our little child is going to go to grandpa, and we're not going to have to pay for daycare. Well, in that case, all houses other than Florida have been going up in value. So to get in the market at that point's great. And that buy down's helpful. The problem is, the devil is in the details. Yep. All these mortgage crap heads, are selling info that says, oh, well, this is great. Well, rates will come down. There is no promise. Where we do things differently is we look at the person's situation. We explain to them they could come down. But if they don't, how are they going to be with this payment? So I think fake marketing is one of the
that pisses me off, too. So the problem is this. I had an individual who was like, well, this company's offering me, 4.5%. I go, no, they're not. The rates aren't even low.
Yeah.
It's either adjustable rate, which is don't do, or it's a temporary buy down. And then I had to explain to them, they're like, well, they didn't even, I go, and that's assuming that the seller's going to pay that. Or otherwise you have to bring the money. They're not, so I am not a fan of them. I was not a fan of them in the early 2000s because when the market started crashing, they started talking about this, and you did the math, and you're like, this is not the best of a deal, So, yeah, I mean, if your lender's talking to you about this and making it sound like it's rainbows and butterflies, you know what? Talk to Ed and I. I don't even give a shit if we're not even licensed in that state. We'll guide you because that is something you don't want to get caught involved in and overpromise. First and foremost, if your lender is telling you, well, the rates are going to be better, they're going to be better in 6 months, or it's bullshit. We don't know.
Absolutely.
Hey, we like to say we hope the rates are going to be better. They should. I don't know. But here's what I do know. I'm going to steal this from our buddy Ed. Not you, Ed, the other Ed. Rates will go up. Rates will go down. Nobody knows. It's like your stocks. Rates will go up or stocks will go up. Stocks will go down. Nobody knows. Yeah. So, which talks about the stocks, the market right now, and with the whole tariff thing. I know that's a big hot button. How is that affecting with you and everything? What have you are looking at?
So today alone, we've had 5 conversations in the markets about the tariffs. He's doing it, he's not doing it, he's doing it, he's not doing it. The market doesn't like volatility. This is not political. Bring the Whig Party back from the 1800s. So the first person that posts, you're a Democrat, you're a Republican, I'm an independent. Let me be clear, I'm an independent before we get into all that crap that I know people are going to say. So bottom line is the market does not like volatility. Tariffs are volatility. Perceived tariffs will increase inflation. Perception. But here's the bottom line when it comes to interest rates. If you're comfortable with the rate in the home, buy it. If not, remember, if you're actually renting, not living in mommy and daddy's 2-family or in their basement, but renting, that you're paying 100% interest. Period.
Yep.
Done. 100% interest. So people say, where do you think rates are going? Who the heck knows? One day we had all these new created jobs. Great. I think that's because every 6 months they redo it. We did have a lot of layoffs and we have more coming. But then we've got inflation offsetting. Nobody has a freaking clue, is my answer. And that tags into affordability, one of our biggest topics right now. So inflation's there. Eggs cost too much money. You can't find eggs. Cigar tobacco has gone up. Not real happy about that. No, you're not either. But inflation. So one of the things to beat inflation, or not even inflation, but your affordability, is to buy a home and rent out rooms.
Yep.
But Ed, how do I qualify when I make a lot of cash on the side selling stuff and not documentable? But I know I can afford the payment because I've got cash income or because I'm going to rent out rooms. That's when we talk about a cosigner again. And I'm the king of cosigners. Absolute king.
He cosigns for everybody.
No, I don't cosign. My kids will tell you that. But so Johnny and Michelle come to us. Johnny makes $100,000 a year, but hasn't filed taxes, so Johnny's got a 400 credit score. Michelle makes $60,000 a year, but the house she wants, because of her other debts, doesn't work. So, but they can afford it. It's just the BS. So we get Michelle to get mom, dad, uncle, cousin to cosign. The first thing everybody says to me is, well, they don't live in Ohio near me, or they don't live in Massachusetts near me. It doesn't blank matter. As long as they don't necessarily have to live in the United States, but let's make it easier for a moment. They live in the U.S. What do we want from them? I want them to have a good income, low debts, and good credit. What's the issue? The issue is you, Johnny, screw up and don't pay the mortgage. Uncle Mike's credit goes to If you, Johnny, buy, and Uncle Mike's nice enough to go on the mortgage and deed, Uncle Mike's married Aunt Sally. Aunt Sally's the third wife. You think Aunt Sally's a royal witch with a B. And then you want to have some legal document because if Uncle dies, you could own the home with them. Do you do a lot of co-signing? If not, I think we should talk about it.
Yeah, I've done a few of them.
I do.
I think I've had I don't think I've ever had one where they're out of state, but maybe like, they're, an hour or two away type of situation.
I've had 20 out of state, 20 in the last few years.
And I don't know how it works for you guys, but, the closing part, lots of people are like, well, do they have to come all the way up?
Well, you can do a mail away. You can do a power of attorney. There's so many different ways.
There's a lot we can do either digitally or, like you said, have a remote person go out. The title company has a person go out, has them sign their portion. And, so are you guys a attorney state?
We're a lawyer state. You guys are title state.
Yeah.
So we're a little bit more sophisticated or pain in the ass.
Yeah. That's why I would call that sophistication if it's a lawyer state.
To finalize this and end our wonderful conversation, today was chill. I enjoyed it. What are you seeing in your market? I'll say what I'm seeing in mine. And then you can do a parting shot. But before we get there, man, we'll have some posts. We have a new Facebook page.
Yeah.
On there, I've got everybody wearing the shirt. So Shane again. Call me.
Well, Ed is our official shirt girl, poofing off the cannon.
774-573-0329. Call me. Give me your address. I'll send you a shirt. But the only deal is you're going to wear it uniquely. You describe uniquely, not me.
Yeah, you gotta be whatever. I mean, on a boat with a bunch of people, just
random people in Aruba right now.
Yeah. Putting on a Disney, going wherever. I don't care. I think it's awesome that people are
on your roof. You could do. I'm waiting for Shane to do it on his roof and fall off.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome.
One time you fall off the roof.
So what are you seeing in your market, brother? What are you seeing?
I will tell you. So we're getting steady. I'm seeing a lot of homes popping up. I'm seeing a lot of contracts coming in. I think I had 2 over the weekend come in. So it's good. It's a good thing to have. I'm seeing a lot of positivity. I'm seeing values not being what I think values are still good, but I'm not seeing the people offering $70,000. I'm not seeing such a bidding war. Now, mind you, some of the homes you will see a bidding war on, and I still think that's because what agents are doing is, let's say a home is worth $300,000, but they're gonna put an asking price of $275,000. What's that do? Holy, I can get this house for this. People go crazy, and all of a sudden you have 30 offers, and you're getting 20 or 30,000 more than asking.
They're not real bidding wars. They're manipulating the system.
It's no different than being at auction and having somebody bid, that's not going to buy it, bid it up.
How many months of inventory do you have in your area of Ohio, roughly?
I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know that. I don't, and I don't know. I know it's decent.
If you want to find out, it's different in different areas of Ohio because you guys are a giant state.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You know what? I'm going to put a note on that, and I will have that for our next podcast.
Most of Massachusetts, we are about a month and a half of inventory. That's it.
Really?
That is it. Florida now is 9 months. 9 months of inventory.
And
I think a normal is 4 to 5.
And I wonder if that, because they're right now, I think they're getting into their slow season. A
lot of people bought there and then said the heat, this, that. Over my 22 years of the business, Arizona and Florida have always been your investment volatility states compared to in Ohio or Massachusetts.
I would say, it's the sand states are different. The sand states are definitely different. Than what we are. But like obviously us is a spring and summer and kind of fall. For them, it might be winter, fall, and somewhat spring.
And you're more of an affordable state, let's be honest. Yeah. I think we're going to see people, when we hit our 70s or such, we already saw it. Tennessee was cheap. Now it's more expensive. North Virginia was cheap. Now it's more expensive because people went to the more affordable states because of the cost of living. And I think we're going to still continue to see a change in that.
I think that's a great point, Ed, because I was talking about Tennessee and those homes, and I'm looking at again, the house was $550,000, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, that's smaller than my house, and it's not even on an acre or land, but how long was it on the market? Over 100 days, So I think you're right. So where some people who are not realistic, they're like, nope, I want this because I've got gold in my backyard. Okay, well, you're going to be sitting for 1,400 days and try to sell your house for $1.4 million.
But you have to listen to your realtor. Every market is local. And the problem is some people are putting houses on hoping. I have electricians that say, I'll work for that person. I'm marking the price up so high. If they take it, God bless them, I'll do it. Otherwise, I'm not working for them because they suck. It's the same thing on the valuation of the house. So every market's independent. Our world is volatile. All parties, please put the wig on. Shane, maybe for the next video, we can get you in a wig to talk about how all politics
I look amazing with hair. I look amazing with hair, but I even look better bald. I've worn wigs before. I've worn wigs.
I think we need you next time you're at corporate. I left a few wigs there. You can borrow one.
Yeah.
Go see Adam. He's got a wig for you.
Yeah, I got a couple of them.
And he's got stilts too to make you look taller.
Make me look taller. I'm not heightening. I'm not putting height lifts in my shoes. So let's do a parting shot. I'll go first because Ed always talks too long on his parting shots. So as far as parting shot, I will tell you, it's not just about mortgage stuff, but we always look at your everything in a whole. Insurance, we hate it. It sucks, but you need it. And asking the right questions and being educated on everything. Sometimes your Uncle Al doesn't know everything, but Al or Ed and I, we're in this industry. We see a lot with insurance deck pages and everything, and we talk to professionals and we're educated on it because we ask questions. So if you have stuff like that and you're like, hey, I don't understand this or I don't know this, boom. Well, we guide a lot of people in finance. That's what I would say. So call us or reach out to us, however you want to do it. I think it's important, if you're not understanding everything, to reach out to us. And I also think it's important to like us on Facebook now because we have the mortgage dudes on Facebook. If you Google it or Facebook it or whatever you search for it, you'll see mortgage dudes. You'll see Ed and my ugly face. There you go. And it's definitely reach out to us. We got T-shirts. So if you're bigger than 1X, sorry, Ed didn't want to be. Ed's the cheapest and didn't want to get the plus size.
That's such bull. Such bull. That was all you.
I apologize. First and foremost, probably I should have had a 2X. I look like I'm wearing a medium.
Mr. Freaking, I am thick in between the ears.
I know. I'm an idiot. Okay. All right, go ahead, Ed.
So to me, the parting shot is simply this. Most wealth is built through home ownership. Don't have fear. Pick up the phone. For the regulators out there, we cannot talk about mortgage rates in states that we are not licensed in. I can talk about debt to income, credit, why his head is bald and shiny, why mine has a little hair. But honestly, if you've got an adult child living in your house, call us. If you are going through a divorce,
you want them out.
Call us. If you want an investment property, call us. My number is the most important. Then we'll put you to shame. 774-573-0329. Parting shot. Reach out to me for a T-shirt. Yo! Okay. I think that's enough energy.
All right.
And maybe I had one of these
before
the show.
Yeah, you're dying. You're dying.
Bye-bye,
everybody.
everyone.
Have a good day.
Until next time.